Hi, welcome to the IHC Craft Room. I'm Mary. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I made this beautiful Christmas themed deco mesh wreath. I'll show you all the steps and all the materials. I used the bubble method to make this base wreath, and I used all materials from my local dollar store and, a few things that I had in my IHC craft stash. But anyway, I'm going to show you all the steps and all the materials so that you can make one just like this for your front door. So grab all your stuff and let's get crafty.
This is Mary. Welcome to the IHC Craft Room. For materials, we'll begin with a 14-inch wire wreath base, 6-inch deco mesh in red, white, and green. I used about a roll and a half of each. 2.5-inch wire edged ribbon. I used some gold, red velvet, and this cute little Santa hat pattern. Holly and berry picks from the IHC Craft Stash. Some mini gold ball ornaments, and some white felt snowflakes. This awesome Santa Merry Christmas decorative sign, and some pipe cleaners in gold, white, and red. And I also used some small gold ball ornaments that I didn't actually add in here. For tools, we're going to begin with our friend Gustavo le glue gun, my pretty pink glittery ruler, a pair of scissors, some toothpicks, and my favorites, finger protectors. Yeah, buddy. Let's get started on the base of our wreath. Today we're going to be using the bubble base method for our wreath because I fell in love with this method in the fall when I made my non-traditional fall wreath. You can see that video right here. Now before we get to bubbling, let's take a bit of time for our weekly crafting math lesson. That's right, it's time for deco mesh math. We've got a 14-inch base that's divided into 6 sections, and we're going to be creating about 5 bubbles of deco mesh per section. So using all 3 types of deco mesh, I'm going to need about 2 rolls of each color, and that's 6 rolls in total. Okay, now let's talk about deco mesh bubbles. In my opinion, this is the most important part of making the bubble base, so stick with me, okay? We've got 2 super important things to make note of here. First, we're going to start by laying our deco mesh out flat and stacking them one on top of the other. Make sure you have the deco mesh rolling over the roll, not under. If you think of a toilet paper roll, which way does the toilet paper go? Does the toilet paper go over or under? Well, in this case, when it comes to the bubble method, the correct way is over. That's how you want your deco mesh to roll so that you get a plump bubble. Plus, that's the way my toilet paper is at my house, so, I'm just saying. The second thing to note here is which color you're laying on top. The top color will most definitely dominate, so choose wisely. Now that we have that laid out the correct way, I'm going to prepare some red pipe cleaners by cutting them in half, and then I'll take my deco mesh and I'll go about an inch from the end and scrunch that deco mesh up, and using a pipe cleaner, I'll secure it to the 2 inner rings and across one of the crossbars by tucking the pipe cleaner under the base and out the other side. I'll give that a few good twists before I trim off the excess. Great. Now, we have that very well secured, so let's get started on our first bubble. We're going to use my pretty glittery pink ruler to measure out 8 inches from the point where we tied down the deco mesh. Then we're going to go ahead and scrunch that deco mesh up right there at the 8-inch mark and take a pipe cleaner and tuck it under the 2 middle rings of the wreath base. And then secure the deco mesh in place, creating a fluffy, pretty bubble. Beautiful, right? Let's do that again. We're going to use a ruler to measure out 8 inches and scrunch up the deco mesh, and then using a pipe cleaner, we'll secure the deco mesh to the wreath base. Beauty. There you go. Your deco mesh bubbling, and it is a thing of beauty. Now that we've got the hang of making the deco mesh bubbles, I'm going to continue this process all the way around the wreath. I'll keep smoothing out my deco mesh, measuring out 8 inches, scrunching it up, forming a bubble, and then securing it to the base using a pipe cleaner. I'm making 5 bubbles per section because that worked out really well for me with my fall wreath, but you can put as many bubbles per section as you like or can fit. I was happy with 5 per section though, and that gave me a really nicely full wreath with some deco mesh to spare and room to add accents on later. This bubble method is super fast, so you'll soon reach the point where you'll get to the end of your deco mesh rolls. Oh no, what are we gonna do now? Oh my god. Okay, calm down. No big deal. We'll just secure the ends down really well and then set up new rolls of deco mesh by rolling them out and stacking them, giving them a good scrunch about an inch or 2 from the end, and then securing that to the wreath frame. And then I'll tuck the ends down through the wreath frame so that they're out of sight. If only life were this simple, am I right? And now we'll just get back to Deco mesh bubbling. We'll keep going, measuring out 8 inches and make our pretty little Deco mesh bubbles all the way around until the very end, where we'll secure the last bit of Deco mesh down really well with a final pipe cleaner and then cut off the excess and tuck the ends down through the wreath base. Look at how beautifully full this base is. Oh man, just wait until we fluff it out. Before we get to fluffing though, I want to tidy up the ends of my Deco mesh here by taking the 2 ends that I tucked into the base, and then I'm going to actually join them together and cut them short. Just to keep the base tidy, I'll do that with the other ends as well. It's time to fluff the base. Let's go. With this style of base, we're going to be doing 2 things at the same time. First, we want to gently separate the 3 colors of Deco mesh and really spread the bubbles open to reveal all 3 of the pretty colors. Red will continue to dominate as the top color, but now you can see a festive splash of green and a lovely highlight of white. Remember, you want to really fan the Deco mesh out and make sure you don't see any of that wire wreath frame peeking out. I have to say, I'm once again thoroughly impressed with this Deco mesh base method. By not cutting the Deco mesh, it keeps the wreath really neat and tidy, eliminating the fraying and flyaways that Deco mesh is just so notorious for. Plus, it's a much quicker method compared to the curly technique I've used in the past. This is such a total score. Let's put the base aside for a bit and move on to prepping our super cute Dollar Tree Santa sign. I'm going to take off this piece of jute cord, but I'll hang on to it and see if I can use it later for hanging the wreath. Next, I'll run a line of hot glue straight up and down at the bottom of the sign, right near the edge. Then I'll press a pipe cleaner into the glue and use a toothpick to make sure it's stuck down really well. I'll do the same thing at the top of our sign and then again on both sides of the sign, making sure to stick the pipe cleaners close to the edges. Once the glue's nice and dry, I'll go back and add another layer of glue over each pipe cleaner to really lock them in place. Now let's set the sign aside to dry and move on to our ribbon accents. I picked up these 3 beautiful ribbons from Costco, Michael's, and Dollar Tree respectively, and it really doesn't matter where I bought them or for how much. What matters is that they are wire-edged ribbons and that they work with my theme and color scheme, so feel free to get your ribbon anywhere as long as it works for your wreath and your budget and they have wired edges. Then you're golden. Now it's time to figure out how much ribbon we need. You didn't think we were done with math today, did you? Why would you think that? Since we're going to use 3 different wired ribbons to make 6 ribbon bundles in total, we'll need each bundle to contain 1 piece of gold ribbon, 1 piece of red velvet ribbon, and 1 piece of the Santa hat pattern ribbon. So that means we need 6 pieces of each color, and we're going to cut them all to 10 inches in length. So let's go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to dovetail the ends of each piece of ribbon because I really like the way that looks. But you could either leave the ends of the ribbon as is or even cut them at a diagonal. That would look beautiful as well. Now that we have our ribbon pieces ready, it's time to start preparing the bundles by crisscrossing 1 ribbon over the last, making sure to mix gold, red velvet, and the Santa hat pattern. Then we're going to scrunch up the ribbon right there in the center of our crisscross. And then using a pipe cleaner, I'm going to bundle that ribbon together and give it an embarrassing amount of twists. And there you go. We made our first bundle. Now let's make 5 more, and then we'll have all the pieces ready to put our wreath together at last. This is my favorite part, putting everything together. First, let's add in our ribbon bundles. I'm just going to spread them out as equally around the wreath as possible. I generally use a triangle formation to do this, but do whatever works for you. You just want it to be evenly spread out. And once I have them in the right spot, I'll go back and tighten up those pipe cleaners and cut off the excess. Now let's add our sign and try to get it nicely centered before we secure it tightly with the pipe cleaners and cut off the excess of those as well. Don't worry if you can't get it into the perfect spot right away. That's the beauty of pipe cleaners. You can always untwist, readjust, shift, move things around, and keep monkeying with things until you're happy with the way everything looks. Pipe cleaners for the win. For this wreath, I'm using a mix of small glitter gold ball ornaments and some minis too. I'll add a generous amount of glue to each ornament and then find the perfect spot for each one, really spreading them out so that there's a mix of sizes all around the wreath. I cut the little neck pieces off these ornaments before gluing them on, but honestly, that's totally unnecessary. I guess I was feeling a little bit more extra than usual that day. Oh, Mary. Let's keep it moving and add in some of these pretty little felt snowflakes. I love how they tie in with our cute Santa sign and add that extra brightness of a pop of white here and there. So cute. For the perfect last touch, I'm going to sprinkle some berry branches around the wreath here and there, wherever my little heart desires. Now we'll just tie some jute string to the back so that this wreath is ready to hang. And since I'm satisfied with the sign placement, I'm going to go ahead and trim off that extra bit of white pipe cleaner. And that's it. This guy is done and ready to party all the way to Christmas. That's right. You party to Christmas, Santa. You go.
So what do you think? It was actually pretty simple to make this wreath, right? I've used the bubble method before and I really enjoyed it the last time and it did not disappoint this time either. A super simple method and super quick as well. And I really liked that I got to have all those little shots of white and green, but still have red as the dominant color. At least it really played out really subtly all the way around the entire wreath. And then adding all of these accent ribbons and the ornaments and I love the way this turned out. It's super festive. It's bright. It's fun. I can't wait to put this on my front door. And I'd love to hear what you think about it in the comments below. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about wreath making or maybe candle making or dot painting, check out one of these videos. And don't forget to subscribe so that we can continue to get crafty together. Toodaloo!